Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch Harlan, and welcome to the Truth Talks podcast. Boy, I got a good one for everybody today. This is Dr. Gregory Buford, MD, plastic surgeon. Dr. Buford, how are you?
I am wonderful. Great to see you. It's been a long time, and I'm honored to be on the segment. Thank you.
I appreciate that. So we do know one another, and I will start out for people who have to see me on camera with age spots and old man chicken neck and stuff. I have not had any work done by you, but my wife has, and she looks phenomenal. So you do a magnificent job.
Well, I work on the people that count the most. So, right.
That is true. There is a reason why I chose you for this segment. I did get to know you, and you're just one of these super genuine guys that happens to be fantastic at plastic surgery. And plastic surgery is one of those things that, I've seen it change the lives of people. And on Truth Talks, we do stories of, every type of perseverance and people getting through things. And I've always thought about this segment, and I wanted to bring you on because you're one of the most real plastic surgeons that I've ever met. So I got a lot of questions for you today, my friend.
Okay. And here's the thing as well, too. First of all, I'm honored that you say that. That's how I would love to be seen by my patients as well, too, is that, a lot of this, I think there's a lot of glam, in what we do in the industry and so forth. And realistically, it does change lives. There's a reason I get paid a good amount of money to do what I love to do. It's just so much fun.
My wife did. She got some work with some Botox through you. And here's the thing that it was important to me, and mainly because maybe I don't know enough about it, whatever. But the reason I wanted her to see you is because, number one, you are a surgeon. I feel very confident you know everything that's going on in the line of work you do. But you see all these spa things pop up and people doing it. I got to be honest. The reason that I wanted you to do it is because I just knew that you knew exactly how to do it. Am I off base there?
No, I think you're absolutely right. One thing I'm gonna pipe in as well too. I've been doing this for over 21 years. I also run a nationally accredited training center actually for facial injectables called Core Aesthetics Training Institute. We call it Katie. And our goal in that, and just exactly what you said, is we want to foster a learning environment where people learn how to safely and effectively use facial injectables because literally everyone and their dog is injecting toxins now, whether it's Botox, Jeuveau, Dysport, what have you. And it's really kind of scary. And what people don't realize is what they are using is only as good, or the outcome is only as good as the person behind the syringe. And it's really the God's honest truth. I think with consumers, I always suggest to people that when you're going to go in and get any of this work done electively, this is elective. You're going to live happily ever after. If you don't come and see me, you'll hopefully live a little more happily after, if you do. But, the reality is, this is all elective. So what I would emphasize to anyone is ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid of asking. So Dr. B, where'd you get your diploma from? And I'll be happy to show you my student loans and all the kind of the fact that I spent most of my adult life, studying, being a perpetual student. And I'll tell you realistically, any of us in this profession and in any really solid profession, we continue to learn. And what that means is if you're so arrogant to think that you know everything, then don't do it. I can tell you, I still take courses. I still learn injectables. And I'm the head, the founder of a training institute. So people are like, why are you taking these courses? Well, it's the same reason that I read journals, that I reach out to my peers and I say, you know what? I've got these hard questions. Help me out with this because you can always do better. And that's an attribute. That's a mindset that you want in your plastic surgeon. You want a plastic surgeon that is forever hungry, forever curious, and forever striving for knowledge, for betterment.
And as you were talking, a lot of things were popping into my mind. So I want to go with, first of all, what are the top 5 procedures that you do?
Top 5 procedures I do. Well, first of all, I specialize formally or predominantly on breast and body. I do a little bit of face, but mostly breast and body. Breast wise, I do a few. I shouldn't say a few. I do a moderate amount of primary surgeries. So in other words, first time. The majority of what I do though is I do the fix it. So you've seen this show Botched. Here's a little plug for Botch. Dr. Nassif, good guy. I mean, I know him, very very good guy, and really has kind of brought to light the fact that things don't always go right. So I see a lot of patients that for a variety of reasons, whether it's the aging process, they just they haven't aged as they wanted to, or maybe they didn't take enough time to really adequately seek out the best provider. I do a lot of fix it. And those things are really keep you on your feet because there ain't no manual for that. I mean, they don't teach you that stuff. It's really literally flying by the seat of your pants, but you get better and better at doing that. And I would say to anyone is that, if you're going to choose someone that does a lot of the secondaries, because when they do the primaries, it's more of a chip shot. It's kind of like it just, you really have to think out of the box. You have to be very, very creative. So back to your question, I do breast augmentation, with either with implants or with fat grafting, lifts. I do breast reductions. I really enjoy tummy tucks. I've done a lot of tummy tucks over the years, but what's interesting is my tummy tuck and liposuction cases have just gone out of the roof since COVID. And the thing that I love about these is these are game changers. These aren't like, well, you're going to notice a little bit of difference. With the toxins, I also do a lot of facial injectables as well too. With those, you want a more moderate result. You don't want someone coming out with lips that walk in the room first. You want something that looks really, really natural. But with some of these surgeries, if you do them right, especially like the tummy tucks, I work with a lot of young moms, and I'll tell you what, these ladies are awesome. They freaking rock. Why? Because they're young, healthy. They've had a couple little bambinos, a couple little babies, okay? And these babies literally will cause changes. We all know that. And we're in Colorado, so everybody's working out, they're eating right, they're trying to do everything well, but they simply can't achieve the results they want. So I'm a bridge. I help them achieve what they can't achieve on their own. And I'll tell you what, Mitch, it's super cool because I see them walk in. And having done enough of these, I've done thousands of these cases. Walking in, I can look and say, okay, I can pretty much predict what the outcome's going to be, within a certain degree. And it's going to blow you away. I'm like, you are going to literally this is going to blow you away. This is going to be a subtle result. Like I've had patients come in and cry. I've had patients that have come in and say, you know what? The worst thing is now, my husband, my significant other, won't keep his hands off me. I'm like, rock on. That's awesome. It's stoking up the relationship. If I cause, pandemonium in the bedroom, good. That's awesome. But it really gives people, a lot of confidence. I mentioned I do a lot of public speaking. When I get on the stage and I have I get custom suits because I have a kind of an odd build. And so, I have to have my custom suits. And when I get up there and I have got that, I feel like I'm walking on air. I feel like, like I'm rocking. It's the same thing with Botox, with injectables, with plastic surgery. You're helping someone achieve something and a body ideal they always wanted, but they just couldn't achieve on their own. And you do it in a way that's safe, that's effective, and that really helps them not only achieve their goals, but hopefully my goal is it helps actually exceed those goals.
Well, let's go down that road. Let's go down the road of expectation, because that has to be one of the most challenging things in your profession. And the expectations that people have, you always hear, I should have went bigger. Why do people say that?
That's a great question. Two things they usually say. I wish I would have gone bigger. And two, I wish I would have done that earlier because it was a lot smoother than I anticipated. I expect a lot more pain. But I think in terms of expectation, to answer that question, Hollywood's created a nightmare for us. Hollywood's created a nightmare because, I hate to say it, a lot of these people with more money than God don't always go to the best plastic surgeons, don't always go to the best injectors, and they end up looking like a fish, a duck, a monkey, or, God forbid, someone comes in, be like, I love the ones they say, I want to look like Brad Pitt. Mitch, you've known me for a few years. I ain't going to ever look like Brad Pitt, nor are you. Okay. You can spend a ton of money. Okay. Get your piggy bank out and, start saving because it ain't going to happen. So, it's all about expectations. And it's all about expectations, from the standpoint of what you're going to accomplish, but also, too, the path that gets you there. And that's really what it comes down to. So if you're going to get a procedure like a breast augmentation and size is something that we choose, then really try to do the research and try to figure out, what is it that you think is going to really make you happy? Now, to answer your question, why people say, I wish I would have gone bigger, is that I think there's still that persistent fear that they're going to look like one of those women. I don't want to look like that woman. The woman that, like, when she walks in, everyone goes, yep, she had her breasts done. Yep, she had them done. People want to feel like they look natural. But what's so interesting, so Mitch, this always cracks me up. I do the surgery, initially they're swollen and they have what I call the Wonder Woman look. So everything is just, like out like this. They defy gravity, bullets, and everything like that. It's a Wonder Woman look. The implants are up to their neck, up to the clavicles, blah, blah, blah. Patients are like, oh my God, I'm way too big, blah, blah, blah. So the swelling goes down. During that time, they've gotten used to it. Okay. They've tried on clothes and they're like, wow, geez, I'm really rocking this bathing suit. And then the size comes down. They come in the office, they're like, damn it. They're like, I actually kind of now like that bigger look. Another example is pregnancy. God above actually helps me, because here's why. During pregnancy, every woman's breasts get bigger, right? Well, I call that a sneak peek. Okay. That's a sneak peek at what you could look like after coming to Beauty by Buford. Okay. Your breast engorged, women look at it and they go, oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, I love that. I mean, they're rocking some of their shirts and so forth, and they're really, really happy. And then everything goes down and it sags. And they're like, what? They're like, you got to be kidding me. You showed me the preview, then you took it away from me,
So I want to go into kind of this body thing, the mommy makeover. That seems like a shit ton of surgery. And do you break that up?
So it really depends. I usually operate, surgery has changed a lot. Again, I've been doing this for about 21 years. When we first started out, I mean, good Lord, people were doing surgery 12, 13, 14 hours. I mean, now, my prostate won't handle that. I'm an old dude. I'm like, I need a bag of chips. Come on. I get really tired and I get exhausted. You'd be surprised. I'll do surgeries and you don't pee for 6 hours straight. But you're so, when I do surgeries, I'm a little ADD. A little bit, I get in my zone and it's just literally, the world could be ending outside and I'm so focused on the surgery. I don't even pay attention to that. So to answer your question, usually most of my surgeries are about 6 to 7 hours in length, and they don't go beyond that. And the reason being that's a standard stipulation for most surgery centers, because they've looked at time under anesthesia, and when you get past, a certain golden hour, so to speak, the risk goes up significantly, so the risk goes up for pulmonary or lung complications. We worry about clots in your legs, the clot eventually going to your lung, becoming what's called a PE or a pulmonary embolism. We worry about all those things, and ultimately these are elective procedures. So, I don't want to ever have to go out. Thankfully, knock on wood, I'm knocking wood hard. I've never had a death, and I want to operate until the day that I retire and not have a death. I did trauma surgery when I was training, and I can't tell you how many patients' families I had to go out. And I'm getting chills now thinking about it, and tell them, I'm sorry, your mom didn't make it. I'm sorry, your son didn't make it. That sucks. It really sucks. So I try, if anything, I'm probably a little bit of a chicken. I'm probably really conservative. But here's the thing. I look at these people like family. And this is going to sound like a bunch of hogwash, but it's not. I look at these people like family. Okay. If someone was doing this stuff to my mom, would it be cool? Would I look at him and say, you know what? Good job. I appreciate the decision-making process you used. And where people make mistakes is thinking, I can just go, a little farther with this. Good example. Look at all these stars that have had. Look at Dodie West. Okay. Dodie West, Kanye's mom, poor lady. Well, poor lady in some ways, poor lady not in other areas. I'm sorry, Kanye, if I offend you a little bit, but his mom went to multiple plastic surgeons. Okay. Multiple plastic surgeons. They all told her, you're not healthy enough to undergo all these procedures. You need to get a workup. You need to get a full workup. You're not healthy enough to do this. Well, the idiot, and I emphasize it because this guy was an idiot, okay, said, oh, you know what? Pay me enough cash and I'll operate on you. And he sent her home. Sent her home after a huge surgery. Well, guess what? She died. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, that was a death that was unnecessary. And that is something that it should not happen. Now, are there people that die? I don't want to say necessarily, but are there people that die? I mean, and it's just a stroke of bad luck? Absolutely. I mean, it can happen to the best surgeon. And I know some friends, and again, I'm not going to mention names, that have had issues and it really wasn't their fault. I mean, shit happens. Shit happens. I mean, you can have a weird heart rate that just happens out of the blue. I mean, on a healthy person. I mean, I've had some of my orthopedic friends, say that, wow, I got a clot. I got a DVT after a knee scope, which is like a 20-minute procedure. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but that kind of stuff happens. So, I mean, as a surgeon, you have to avoid hubris. I mean, hubris is what got Oedipus into trouble. It's an overarching pride. The surgeon has to watch after that. And then also too, I would say to any consumer, do your research. Okay. Do your research. And that doesn't mean you need to see 25 plastic surgeons. I've had people that say, oh, you're the 15th plastic surgeon I've seen. I'm like, good Lord, you could have paid for the procedure with all those consult fees. What are you doing? I'm like, you obviously didn't prepare very well. Do your research, ask around. I mean, the other thing too is ask other medical professionals. I mean, call around to some of the surgery centers and ask the nurses and say, hey, what, I'm thinking about getting a breast aug. What do you think about Dr. B? And I can tell you what they'll say. He's an annoying motherfucker in the OR. He is so anal retentive. I mean, he doesn't allow us to get away with anything. But if I had to have my friend undergo breast surgery, that's who they would go to. Because, I mean, he's great out of the OR, but man, he is on the spectrum when he's in there, And so, I mean, and that's a reputation that I want and that any surgeon should want. I mean, you should be annoyingly anal retentive and patients should look for that. But anybody looking at having plastic surgery, I mean, the problem is, I mean, they have all these idiotic shows like The Swan and blah, blah, blah. And they make it look like a drive-through. They make it look like, oh, my dad could do that, or my brother could do that, or my sister could do that. That's so easy. Just like, what drives me crazy is, when I go to a gallery, and I see a painting by Van Gogh or something like that, and someone goes, I could have drawn that same thing. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. That was Van Gogh. And it's actually Van Gogh. I'm pronouncing it wrong. But it's like, no, you couldn't. That was Van Gogh. And it took Van Gogh a hell of a lot of craziness to come up with all those colors and all this stuff. And that's why we're still talking about him centuries afterwards. I mean, these guys were really good. So really, really do your research. And I can't underscore that. Now, I think one of your questions would probably be, how do you find good information? And that is tough because you go to our websites, no one's going to put on their website, still trying,
Right.
still trying, I'm going to get it right someday. No one's going to do that in their video. Hi, Dr. Buford, welcome to my site. And I think by next week, I'm going to have down this procedure pretty darn spanking good. No one's going to say that. We're all going to say, you know what? I'm Harvard trained, or I'm this, I'm that, and so you look at it and you go, oh my God, this guy is, this guy's better than sliced bread. This guy's amazing. Well, what I would say is go with your gut. Go with your gut. And that sounds kind of nonsense, but you know what? Go with your gut because bullshitters can only bullshit so much. I mean, they really can. And ask the staff. I mean, really look at the staff and say, hey, I'm just curious. Looking around. I'm just curious. How many of you guys have had procedures by Dr. B? Okay. Now, I mean, I can tell you, my staff, I've kind of created a monster. So, if you look on my Instagram page, you'll see the recent big surgery I did to one of my staff members. Well, now all my staff members want the same thing. I mean, and that's a hell of a lot of trust. I mean, still in this, this may sound like nonsense, but every day I go into surgery, I'm like, I kind of feel I get like a little bit of stage fright, because I'm like, I can't believe these people actually trust me to do all this stuff. And I'm supposedly near the top of my game. I mean, I'm really good at what I do, but still, I mean, I am so humbled that people are like, they're actually willing to allow me to cut into them, completely alter their body in the way it looks permanently. permanently. I mean, this isn't drawing with magic marker and say, okay, you don't like it, just wipe it off. This is permanent stuff.
Well, that is the reason that I brought you on here, because I know when people talk to me, it's always like the spine guys that I send to, even different knee and hip guys. I have multiple friends in different areas that do the same types of surgery, and it's always the people who stay in their lane, and that's what they do, and that's what they do well, is where I like to send people to. But there's just so much around this stuff, and I think the fact that you are so highly specialized in the things you do, that's why we always try and say, hey, this is who you go to, staying in that lane. There's so many procedures that I've seen done where, the doc was probably pretty good at one thing, maybe not so much at the other, and you might ought have gotten two different surgeries in order to do that. But I kind of want to run this down here just a little bit. There's something else that you do, though, that I find absolutely fascinating. You are really also, you wrote a book on it. It's on actually how to stay healthy post-surgically, pre-surgically, post-surgically. So talk a little bit about the book and why you wrote that.
Yeah. So Mitch, you just, it's so funny. I mean, we've had such a great conversation at this point, and we haven't even hit on that. And that's really one of my passions. So, a little bit of my background. I grew up in just outside of Portland, Oregon, a little city called Lake Oswego. I grew up thinking we were just a bunch of dumb hippies. Okay. A bunch of dumb hippies. Why? Because my godparents had an orchard, so I mean, we'd spend all our time going and picking peaches off the tree, getting fresh cherries, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, we're a bunch of hillbillies. We're hanging out in farms. I mean, we used to get, we used to know the fishermen. We used to get all that. We used to know the people at the butcher shop. We knew people that grew wine. So I thought, God, we're just a bunch of like local yokels, I mean, just kind of like just a bunch of hillbillies, and now nutrition, and good nutrition, knowing where everything is sourced. I mean, now suddenly that's the what's it called? I forgot the term for it, but there's a big fancy term for it. We did that when I was a kid. Well, here's the thing. I mean, during college, I mean, I kind of forgot about that. During med school, I mean, I was eating like crap. I was eating Pizza Hut and all that kind of nonsense. So, in my 40s, I did this crazy thing. I mean, I looked in the mirror one day and said, you know what? I look like shit. Okay. I'm only in my mid 40s. I'm like, if I continue on this road, I mean, I need to cut back a little on the martinis. I mean, I probably could eat a little better and so forth. I mean, I was on no medications, and actually I'll pride myself at 56 right now. I'm on no medications, I'm on hormone replacement. That's it. But I mean, I looked at that point and said, I need to make a change. So got a personal trainer. I mean, did his total 360. And then I obviously completely lost my mind, and I did a fitness competition, where you're going like this, standing up, I got on stage. I actually won first in my division. Totally crazy. I was like, fifth overall in the entire competition. This little white dude out there strutting around, mid 40s. And then, what I did after that then is I'm like, I'm going to do this fellowship. So I did an anti-aging restorative medicine fellowship, and what I did is I put two and two together. I said, you know what? I'm getting back into good nutrition, but I'm not only going to get back into good nutrition, I'm going to actually advocate it for my patients, because, garbage in, garbage out. So what's crazy, and so I wrote a book on that called Eat, Drink, Heal, The Art and Science of Surgical Nutrition. We give that to every single one of our patients. I'm a huge advocate. I believe in surgical nutrition, and I'm so excited because so many medical schools are catching on. They're teaching surgical nutrition. I mean, it's not all about drugs. I mean, let food be thy medicine. I mean, I think what was that? Hippocrates, I think you said that.
No.
Who was that? Was it Aristotle?
No.
Who?
It was a fucking chiropractor who said that.
Was it?
I don't know. That's what we've been doing for 100 years. It just sounded like you were just making some great big apology to us, and I was kind of enjoying it, actually, while you were saying it.
Well, whoever said it, I agree. I freaking agree. But it's so true. I mean, people, the gut-brain connection, I mean, this. I mean, people are like, I don't know why I feel like shit. Maybe because 70% of your neurotransmitters are made in your gut and you're eating McDonald's every day. Can't figure that one out. You're eating this pink slime shit. I mean, 70% of your immune system, guess where it's made? In your gut. Crazy how you eat poorly and you feel like crap. So I also too, one cool thing, if you don't mind, I'm going to give a big plug out.
Plug it.
A company called Mend, MEND. Zaya Saeed is the CEO. This guy, and you can look him up, kind of see his story. But amazing guy, because I was actually going to form my own protein powder. I wanted to supplement for my patients. And a buddy of mine, a facial plastic surgeon back, he said, you know what? One of my buddies has this company. I mean, you need to talk to him. Well, I've been working with the company now for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. I mean, I help formulate some of this stuff. I help kind of guide them, and they've exploded. And what's so cool is people are taking this stuff seriously. I mean, it's been big in the orthopedic scene. They just landed huge accounts in Australia. I mean, and I'm not just glowing about the company. I'm glowing about what the company does, and I finally found like-minded individuals who said, you know what, Buford, you're not full of shit. Now, what's so funny is when I wrote my book, I mean, you can read, there's a bunch of accolades. I mean, for some pretty big heavy hitters in nutrition. But I had a couple of my friends, who I won't name, and said, oh, what are you doing that crazy nutritious thing? Ha 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 ha. I'm like, yeah, this crazy nutrition thing, this whole thing that's been going on for thousands of years. Yeah, I have been doing it. Crazy how that works. So, to me, it's really, really exciting. And what's great is your patients actually, what's amazing, let your patients be engaged, and many of them will be. They want to actually influence their outcomes. If you tell them, you know what, these are the keys to you having a successful outcome, and maybe even having a better outcome than you anticipated. I mean, and it's all about doing a few simple things. Okay. So every single one of my patients, every single one of my surgical patients gets Mend. Every single one of them. It's called Mend Cosmetic. Okay. And then a lot of them will actually be like, hey, you know what? I mean, that was really good. For once, I actually really feel good. Can I continue with this stuff? Yeah. Then I put them on a different formula called Regenerate, blah, blah, blah. They've changed some of the names now, I think, but there's an everyday formula. And so, I mean, you can tell I'm very, very passionate about it. I appreciate you asking, because I really think this is the future of medicine, because I mean, what you eat affects how your genes are expressed. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of power in what you put in your mouth.
Well, I think COVID taught us that, right?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
because nobody wanted to listen to the chiropractors for the last 100 damn years, but now COVID, everybody's like, oh yeah, maybe you guys made a little bit of sense there. So, but I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It was hard as hell nailing your ass down, because you are all over the damn place. I do encourage people, our listeners, to check out Dr. Greg Buford, Beauty by Buford, because you do stay in your lane and you do educate. You also talk about the nutrition, which I thought was absolutely huge. There's hardly anyone else doing that, and I think that is probably as much as the surgery itself, in my opinion. But tell us, everybody who's listening, how they get an appointment with Dr. Buford.
Send us an email. You can respond to me directly at Dr. Buford, so Dr. Buford at beautybybuford.com. You can also reach out to Vivian, who's our patient care coordinator. She's lovely. You'll love her. It's Vivian at beautybybuford.com. You can also check out our website at www.beautybybuford.com. What I try to do on my website, the look and feel, is patient education. It's very, very patient centric. It's about you. It's about you, the patient. And it's about trying to help you sift through all the medical information and figure out what really is. That's how I encourage you to do. I mean, reach out to us, but, do your background research and really find someone that resonates with you, because, forming a relationship with a plastic surgeon is just that. It's a relationship. It really is. It's not a drive-through. I mean, you're stuck with that person, good or bad. I mean, if you have a great result, great. But if you have a not so great result, and complications going to happen, you want someone that's actually going to stand behind you. And one thing I can say is, we get very few complications, but we stand behind it. We stand behind them. And that's the goal. And I don't promise my patients that zero complications. No one can do that. What I do promise them is I'm going to do my best. Okay. And that sounds a little hokey, but it's really the God's honest truth. And I surround myself as well, too, with people that are really solid. My team knows how I want patients treated. I mean, they know our philosophy. We don't have a formal mantra or anything like that on our wall or anything. I think that's a little hokey. but they know exactly what I expect. I expect a lot of them because I expect the best of them, but I expect even more of me because ultimately, again, our quest is to provide great outcomes and a great experience. And that's really what it comes down to.
And that's certainly going to happen at Beauty by Buford because I know you well, my friend. But thank you again for coming on, carving out a little time because I know you're one busy guy. But I appreciate you coming on our show.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun talking to you.
All right, my friend. We will see you soon.
Okay.